The battlefield is transforming. Bullets and bombs are being replaced by lines of code, neural networks, and swarms of drones. What once required battalions of soldiers can now be executed by a single autonomous robot, programmed to kill without hesitation. This isn't science fiction, it's the future of warfare. From Pentagon labs to Chinese factories, the race to build smarter, deadlier machines is already underway. Welcome to the next conflict. This is From Bullets to Bots, how autonomous weapons will change everything. For centuries, the face of war was human. Warriors on horseback, soldiers in trenches, pilots in cockpits. Even with the rise of aircraft and nuclear weapons, humans were always in the loop, planning, commanding, and pulling the trigger. Then came the drone era. In 2001, the US used the first armed Predator drone to eliminate a Taliban leader in Afghanistan. It was a turning point. Drones allowed nations to strike targets remotely, without putting pilots at risk. But these drones still required human control. They were tools, extensions of human judgment. Autonomous weapons changed that equation. Now machines can make lethal decisions on their own, and once they're deployed, there's no going back. Autonomous weapons don't suffer from fatigue, they don't question orders, they don't hesitate. This isn't just a shift in tools, it's a shift in who decides life and death on the battlefield. At the core of every autonomous weapon is artificial intelligence. Software that can process information, recognize targets, and make decisions faster than any human ever could. These systems rely on sensors, machine learning, and neural networks to function in real time. Imagine a drone swarm navigating a complex urban environment, identifying threats and coordinating attacks without any human oversight. That's not theoretical. In 2020, a Turkish-made Kargu-2 drone reportedly hunted down a target in Libya autonomously. This was the first known instance of a lethal autonomous weapon acting on its own. Autonomous systems use deep learning to interpret patterns, like distinguishing civilians from combatants or tanks from trucks. But here's the problem, they can make mistakes, deadly ones. Facial recognition software, for example, has been shown to misidentify people of colour more frequently than others. Now imagine that bias programmed into a trigger-happy robot. Leading the charge in this tech arms race are countries like the United States, China, and Russia. The US has DARPA developing autonomous systems that can detect, target, and engage threats faster than human reaction time. China has invested billions in military AI, building everything from underwater drones to robotic snipers. Russia, meanwhile, is testing AI tanks and combat drones on the Ukrainian front. This isn't just about who has the most firepower, it's about who controls the smartest systems. And when the battlefield becomes a contest of algorithms, the old rules of war begin to break down. The biggest question surrounding autonomous weapons isn't how they work, it's whether they should be allowed to exist at all. Imagine a machine deciding whether a human lives or dies based on lines of code and probability. Who is accountable if it makes the wrong call? The programmer, the military commander, the machine itself? This is what experts call the accountability gap. No one knows who to blame when an autonomous weapon kills the wrong person. And yet some militaries are already moving full speed ahead. Killer robots don't feel fear, remorse, or mercy. They don't take prisoners. They don't consider context. They simply execute a programmed objective. And in war, that objective is often to eliminate anything perceived as a threat. But what happens when the definition of threat is wrong or manipulated? Hackers could spoof enemy signals or fool AI into misidentifying targets. A misfire in an autonomous judgment could trigger an international crisis, or worse, a war. Over 30 countries, including Austria and Brazil, are now pushing for an international ban on killer robots. Meanwhile, the US, Russia, and China refuse to sign. They argue that a ban would limit technological advantage and national security. But critics warn we're heading toward a future where the decision to kill might not involve a human at all. And once these machines are deployed at scale, pulling them back may be impossible. Picture a battlefield where no humans are present, just machines scanning, deciding, and eliminating threats in real time. It's not just a possibility, it's an emerging reality. In this future, wars may be fought faster than we can comprehend, with split-second decisions made by algorithms and autonomous systems. The US military is developing the mosaic warfare concept, where a network of manned and unmanned systems work together to overwhelm enemies with speed and adaptability. Think of it as a military version of a beehive, every unit connected, every action calculated by AI. Drones fly in coordinated swarms, tanks operate autonomously, and cyber weapons are deployed mid-battle to confuse or disable enemy systems. Meanwhile, China is creating intelligentized warfare, a strategy that blends AI, big data, and psychological operations. In this model, battles aren't just physical, they're fought in digital spaces, minds, and networks. Russia, on the other hand, is investing heavily in AI-driven missile systems and robotic tanks, like the Uran 9, already tested in Syria and Ukraine. Future conflicts could involve hypersonic missiles guided by AI, robotic dog units scouting terrain, and underwater drones blocking trade routes. Even outer space won't be safe. Autonomous spacecraft could jam or destroy enemy satellites, disrupting communications, GPS, and surveillance worldwide. These new forms of combat will prioritize speed, precision, and deception, far beyond what human soldiers can handle alone. But faster war doesn't mean cleaner war. The fog of war will now be replaced by the unpredictability of code. A misinterpreted signal, a corrupted sensor, or a faulty line of code could escalate into all-out conflict. And in a battlefield controlled by bots, a single software update could change everything. Victory in future wars may not come from strength or numbers, but from who has the smartest, fastest, and most ruthless AI. This is not the battlefield of tomorrow, it's already being built today. The race for autonomous weapon supremacy isn't just about technology, it's about global dominance. Whoever leads in AI-driven warfare could control the future balance of power. The United States is currently ahead, pouring billions into defense AI through DARPA and military contractors. From autonomous fighter jets like the XQ-58 Valkyrie to Project Maven's battlefield surveillance AI, America's betting big on smart war machines. But China is rapidly closing the gap. By 2030, China plans to become the global leader in artificial intelligence, both civilian and military. Their strategy involves merging state-run tech giants with military R&D, creating an innovation pipeline that moves fast and scales even faster. Russia's approach is different, focus on brute force tactics with autonomous tanks, kamikaze drones, and AI-enhanced missile systems. Other nations like Israel, South Korea, and Turkey are also building advanced loitering munitions and autonomous sentry systems. This arms race isn't limited to nation-states. Private defense companies, robotics startups, and even black market hackers are entering the game, developing lethal autonomy for the right price. The fear is not just who uses these weapons, but who gets access to them. What happens when terrorist groups deploy autonomous drones that can assassinate from miles away? Or when a rogue nation launches a cyber attack that turns a rival's military bots against their own soldiers? We're not just racing to build smarter machines, we're racing to maintain control over them. And the faster this race moves, the greater the risk of an irreversible mistake. This is not a competition humanity can afford to lose or win carelessly. The rise of autonomous weapons isn't inevitable, but right now it feels unstoppable. Some experts argue it's already too late. The technology is here, the systems are being built. But others believe there's still time to set boundaries if the world acts fast. The United Nations has called for a global treaty banning fully autonomous lethal weapons. Tech leaders like Elon Musk and over 26,000 scientists have signed open letters warning of a future where AI-driven wars spiral out of control. The core message is simple: machines that can kill should never operate without human judgment. But regulation is slow and military innovation moves fast. The challenge is global coordination in a world fractured by rivalry, mistrust, and secrecy. Some fear that banning AI weapons would simply push their development underground. And let's be honest, any technology built for defense can and will be used offensively. So where does that leave us? In a future where war is waged at machine speed, humans must still hold the moral line. Because once that line is crossed, there may be no going back. This is more than a shift in military doctrine, it's a crossroads for humanity. Will we remain in control of our machines, or become casualties of our own invention? Only time and the choices we make now will decide. You've been watching The Next Conflict. If this future alarms you, share this video and stay informed. because the next war may already be in code.